And the difference between you and the people that are doing those things is the fact that they put themselves out there, honey. This one is a given. We all know this. That is why it's my goal, it's my dream, it's my passion.
You draw me in slowly, brown eyes stare at me boldly.
Hey friends, welcome to another video. I'm so excited because I promised myself that 2020 was going to be that year that I was going to show up on YouTube consistently, because this is my all-time favorite platform of all the platforms that is out there, and I wanted to create content consistently that I think will be beneficial to you guys. So if you're into self-improvement, personal growth, glowing up, beauty tutorials and hair things, definitely hit subscribe because I'll be sharing more of those kinds of content on this channel. So let's get right into the video. From the title, you can see that today we are talking about taking action on your dreams. And this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart, because most times when we see people taking action, we see people that have launched a business, or we see people that have started something, we always think that these people are the most confident people in the planet. They had no fears, they had no worries, or even if they had fears, they just like glide through it. But let me tell you something, that is not true at all. Take it from someone that has started multiple things. I put myself out there in several ways, and I actually started my career back over 10 years ago now when I was in Nigeria, and I started my career as a radio presenter. So I was working in radio at the time, and it's so funny because when I think back at my story of how I started my career and where I am now, even though I'm no longer working in radio, but it's the same principle that applies every single time. If you want to take action, if there's something that you've always been wanting to do, if there's a dream of yours that you have, do not let fear stop you. Do not let fear hold you back. And I'm going to tell you that story again. I'm going to go more into the story of how I started my career when I literally knew nothing about the career I was getting into. I knew nothing about the space I was getting into, apart from what I saw on TV and all the channels I used to watch at the time. I remember back then, this was, I'll say 2012, 2013. Then I was just finishing from university in Nigeria. And back then, right, it was the kind of content I loved, or then there was no, I think there was Facebook, but social media content was not a thing. It was mostly like mainstream content on radio and on TV. And I would see people that I loved on MTV Base, on Channel O, and I always told myself, and I would listen to radio as well, and I told myself, you know what, I want to do this. I enjoy doing something like this, and I think I would love it. And so I didn't know I was going to get into it because I didn't know anybody. And to me, it just seemed like you needed to know somebody that knew somebody in order to get into that space. So what I did was, I knew that I loved this thing. I had a passion for broadcasting at the time. So what I did was I actually tried to learn about the industry. So I went to a radio training school. It was called Radio Nigeria in Lagos. I don't know if it's still there now, but I attended the school for about 3 months. This was just after I got out of university, and I was like, let me go learn a little bit about radio. Let me know how to present myself on radio, or how to sound on radio. And I went there and I learned. And after doing that, fast forward, let's say 2 years, no, the next year when I was doing my youth service, and I heard when I was in camp, there was like, oh, there are just 2 radio stations that started, and I was like, I want to work in one of those radio stations. And people looked at me crazy, like, do you know anybody there? How are you going to work in that radio station? I was like, well, I'm just going to work there. So what happened was, I actually walked to the radio station. I went to the gate, I asked to see the manager, and I told him, you know what, I think that I will be a good radio presenter. And he looked at me like, where are you from? Who are you? And I said, my name is Wendy, introduced myself, and I told him that I'll be interested in working there. And he then said, okay, he loved my boldness and my confidence, and he told me to come into the recording studio to show him what I got, just freestyle, do something for me. And I remember back then I used to watch a lot of countdown, like those top 10. So I just went on the radio I went on the mic and I started talking about, top 10 countdowns, my top 10 favorite music. And it was like, you're a little bit rough around the edges, but I love your spirit. I love your passion. I love your energy. We would love to have you. And I was stunned. So I started out as an intern and I moved my way up to another radio station where I became the morning radio show host. So what this just tells me, or what's the essence of the story that I'm sharing this story to say that if there is a dream, if there is a plan, if there is something that has been in your heart that you've wanted to, it's been tugging at your heart. This is something that you really want to do. And you feel like you're not prepared. You feel like you don't have what it takes. Don't let it stop you, my dear. The first thing I would say is learn. Be committed to learning as much as you can. Even with me starting YouTube, it's been years and years. I moved to America and I had to go into a different career, but now I'm going back to my passions. But I had to learn and relearn a lot of different things. I had to really take time to, and I'm still learning every single day. Like, this is nowhere near what I want to be producing in a few years, but if you don't put yourself out there, you are not even going to make any kind of progress in that field, in that career that you want to get into. And the difference between you and the people that are doing those things is the fact that they put themselves out there, honey. Is the fact that they took small steps. Every single day they kept showing up. And showing up doesn't mean that you're not going to fail. That is why we do it afraid. And that is my favorite word. That's my favorite thing to tell myself. Whenever I'm having self-doubt, whenever I see something I want to do and I have that thought of self-doubt, I easily tell myself, Wendy, we're doing this afraid. Let's do it afraid. I might look stupid. I might fail. It may not go well. But you know what? I'm going to try. And if I try, and it doesn't work out, guess what? At least I tried. At least I put myself out there. So let me share a little bit of some of the strategies that I have used in my life. Whenever there's something I wanted to do, whether it was start a business or start a new career or go to a new country or do things that are a little bit exciting but scary at the same time, here are some strategies that I have used in my life that have worked tremendously well for me. So the first thing I do is look at the whole picture. When I say look at the whole picture, is don't just look at right now, this moment of fear. Don't just look at tomorrow or next year. Think of your life in terms of, where do I want to be when I'm in my 40s, when I'm in my 50s, in my 60s? Like, look at the whole picture of how you want the trajectory of your life to be. And that is so important because most times we're short-sighted. We're just thinking for today. But if we're thinking more about tomorrow, then you'll be able to tell yourself that even though I feel afraid right now, but when I'm 60, will I be happy that I didn't take that step, that at least I didn't try, nobody laughed at me, nobody thought I was stupid? Or would I be burning and beaming with excitement at 60, knowing that I was able to chase and do all the things that I wanted to do? And this has nothing to do with money, to be honest. I know a lot of times your passions may be linked to money, but this just has to do with chasing those things that really make your heart, glow, that really makes you who you are. So when you look at the whole picture and you ask yourself those questions, you ask yourself where you want to be, or the kind of person you want to be when you're 60, and the kind of person you want to be when you're, much later in life, then that will guide your decision today. So even if you're feeling afraid, do it for your future self. Do it for future you to be like, girl, you tried it. Girl, you did it. And to be honest, right now, when I think back at me when I was 19 or me when I was 18, all the moves and all the steps that I made, I tell myself, oh, girl, you were bold. Those are the things that I tell myself. And those are the things I want my future self to tell me right now. I'm really proud that you took that step. I'm really proud that you made that move. So the next strategy is to stop comparing. Sweetheart, this one is a given. We all know this, to stop comparing, but it is really hard right now, especially with social media. We see people's highlight reels, we see people's perfect lives online, and it's so easy to compare ourselves with, people and what they're doing or where they are. And a lot of times that makes us not take action because we're always comparing ourselves, or maybe not feeling good enough that we're as good as that person doing it. But listen, there is only one you. Only one you has your fingerprint. There's only one you with your unique voice, with your unique style, with your unique life, that you can't live your life comparing yourself with another person. And if it's something you have to learn, unlearn, relearn on how to just take yourself out of that comparison trap, that is something that is going to be so beneficial. And there are lots of things that can help you. Read books about, how to take your minds, how to change your mindset, because a lot of things have to do with mindset. A lot of the actions or inactions that we take or don't take start from the thoughts, the things we feed our mind with. So when you start feeding your mind with high quality things, then that will take you more on the path to stop comparing yourself with people. And the third thing that will help you kickstart your journey to chasing your dreams is to define your goals. You need to define your goals, because clarity is key. You need to be clear about what your goals are. And these don't have to be lofty goals. I see people a lot of times when they want to set goals, they have like 20 things, 30 things, 1 million things they plan to do. This is just one goal. If your only goal for the year or for the month is to stop comparing yourself with people, that can be your goal. That can be your goal. And that is not your long-term goal, but that could be your short-term goal. Start from there. Or if your goal could be, I want to be more disciplined. I want to show up for myself. I don't want to make excuses anymore. That is my goal for the month. For the rest of this month, this is a new month. There's the month of March. For the rest of this month, I want to set a schedule every morning or every evening and stick to that schedule. That is my goal for the month. And you know what that does? That goal will actually trickle down into getting you onto the path of chasing your dreams and doing the things that will absolutely light you up. So the next thing that would really help you take action on your dreams, on your path, is to trust your intuition. Right now, we're so used to getting advice from everybody. You want to do something, you want every single person to validate your choices. And I'm not against advice. I actually love advice. I seek advice. I go after it, but there are certain people I go to for advice for some specific things. But even when you get out, even me, I'm sharing this video, that doesn't mean you should take every single thing I'm saying hook, line, and sinker, because my life is different from your life. You have to trust your intuition. What is your mind telling you? What is that inner voice telling you? What is it nudging you? What direction is it nudging you to? You need to be able to trust that intuition, because sometimes there's some steps that you want to take that you go and ask someone for advice and they'll be like, you want to do that thing? No, that is so hard. Nobody gets it. Or they don't give it to people like you, people of your color, people of your gender, and they would talk you out of that goal, out of that dream. So it is always best to trust your intuition. Because what I always tell myself is, if there's anything in my heart that is burning, that maybe I'm inspired to do, that is not the same feeling that this next person have about that is why it's my goal, it's my dream, it's my passions. And another person may not get it. So it's good to take advice, listen to people, hear the good things they have to say, but sweetheart, you need to trust your own intuition. And that brings me to the next strategy. While you're trying to come up with a plan, or you're trying to set your goals, it's so easy to get stuck in something that I call analysis paralysis. So what this is just that stage. When you want to do something and you research and research and research. I love to do research. I research all day, every day. But even I know when it's time to take action. Like, okay, sweetheart, you've written the business plan. You've analyzed it. You've done your comparative analysis. You've asked questions. You've gathered your data. You've done your research. Now it's time to take action. So if you are stuck in that loop of, I want to do this. So in your mind, I want to start this business, right? And for the next few months, you want to do research on that particular topic. All well and good. It's good to do research, but what small actions can you do while you're researching? What is that small step you can implement today that will take you closer to your goal? I want to start a business around beauty, or I want to start a business around health or around fitness. I am not ready to launch the product yet, but you know what I can launch? I can start a blog today for free or almost free. So while I'm still researching on how to start that business, on how to jump into that venture, what I can do today is start writing about it, start building a community about it, start sharing my own insight, maybe start a YouTube channel about it. And then when I am ready to launch, when I've done my research, and I'm ready to launch the product, guess what? I've already done some of the work. I've already started building community around that area, around that thing. I'm already known as an expert in that thing. So it's easier for me to launch the business because I've already taken small steps and small actions. And that brings me to my final point. And that is just do it. Just do it, darling. If there is something you want to do, just like Nike, do it, okay? It's not going to be perfect. Trust me, there's so many things that when I think back that I did, I will cringe. I'm like, Wendy, did I actually do that? Did I actually? But even if I cringe in a, okay, now I know better way, but I still feel proud of myself that I took those steps, I took those actions, and it may be that that is not your final destination. So even if you start that blog, that may not be the thing that you will do for the rest of your life. But you know what that does? That builds your discipline. That builds consistency. That builds your self-worth. That builds that thing inside of you that you feel like you can do whatever it is that you set your mind to do. And that builds character. And that is very important if you're going to chase anything or if you're going to do anything in this world today. So remember, the journey to pursuing your dream may seem daunting, but just taking that small step will put you one step closer to being the person that you were meant to be. So if you've watched to this point in the video, thank you so much. And if you haven't subscribed, do well to subscribe to my channel. Let's keep this growing, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep chasing your dreams, darlings.